Welcome to the Necronama.com, where we're spending all of October looking at 31 episodes of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Today, we're looking at Treehouse 29 from October 21st, 2018. I am James Sabata.
I'm Don Guillory.
And I'm Thomas Brungardt.
And that's Cthulhu.
Number 29. We're almost there.
2 more to go.
It's so weird. Who knew?
I like the opening. My favorite joke in the opening is when I think Marge is holding a book that says places to disappear, and the example is the Raiders game visitor section.
Yeah.
I've sat in that section. They're not wrong.
Yeah.
Although they've all disappeared now because they don't play in that stadium anymore.
Yeah, there's
even if they did, nobody could go.
That's true. Bummer.
I know. Just think about those poor owners who were able to siphon money from local communities in Los Angeles and Las Vegas and wherever else there might be a new stadium right now.
Oh no, I've opened a can of worms.
For a new fucking stadium. Yeah, when the football season opened and they made that announcement, LA, their new stadium is $5 billion. I'm like, go fuck yourselves. Anyway.
It's a nice stadium, though.
Yeah, but still.
They got
At
these
least it'll
big
still be
TVs.
nice next year.
Yeah, exactly. When they tear it down in a couple of years, and then it'll be a new one, like the one in Minnesota that the birds were flying into. They'll
lose it to a fire. It'll catch on fire like everything else down there.
Insurance. That's right.
It's another insurance scam. I like the eating contest.
Always a fire down there.
I like the eating contest with Cthulhu. It was pretty good.
Well, and of course, anybody, the one person who could beat Cthulhu in an eating contest has to be Homer. And Cthulhu isn't even threatened until Lisa says, well, he didn't have breakfast today.
It's a good Homer joke. It's a good Simpsons.
It was awesome. And of course,
I like everything about this because it's so ridiculously Homer. Like, this is a good Homer skit. And, like, in the last one, I was bitching about how Lisa skits turn into Homer skits. And that's why it bothers me, because when you stick with what this is about, like this one does, this is the result you get. It's good, and it follows an actual arc, and it pays off.
Well, and speaking of paying off, you got that first sketch, Intrusion of the Potty Snatchers.
Oh, you're not going to mention how the family eats hot dogs made of Cthulhu's tentacles?
I'm still upset that Sergeant Sausage has not made it back into this. There have been callbacks to other stuff. Why couldn't it be like, Sergeant Sausage's Cthulhu flavored hot dogs or something? But I thought it was cool. I mean, Homer wins the contest, and his wish, out of all things in the world, is to eat Cthulhu.
I love how he says it.
Again, that's a very Homer thing, and Cthulhu has to honor it because he's been beaten. But yeah, I liked it. But that first sketch, the Intrusion of the Potty Snatchers, doesn't win any awards from me for puns or playing off of a title. But this is obviously a parody of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where basically the Mapple people, which is a parody of Apple and iPod and all that stuff, they plan an invasion through spores of the world, of Earth. They use the spores to make copies of people on Earth, and it turns out that the infestation is actually creating a way for anybody from Earth to go to the other planet where the pods are from, or where the planets are from. The plants themselves are from. And they make some joke about, we're in a planet that you mistakenly labeled the Crab Nebula, but you're the ones that are living in the Crab Nebula, which goes over, so many issues. But as they find out they're in this new world, the plants, these aliens tell them, hey, you were doing all these things. We decided to make an ideal utopia for you, but you were staring at all these devices and doing all this other stuff. And then, of course, as they're giving this speech about utopia and how great their planet is and how they can appreciate looking at the sun and all this other stuff, they turn around and realize that everybody who had transferred over is now looking at their Mapple and My Pods and My Phones or whatever the hell they call them in this world, because the Tannenbaum tree has been giving out presents, or at least they've been finding presents underneath him and getting what they want. So I got some thoughts on this one, but I want to hear from you guys first.
Well, I just, the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking, Don must love all of this, like, Apple hate.
Oh, I can't fucking stand Apple.
I know, but I love how...
I'm sorry, the cult of Apple. Technology, okay, great. Business model, okay, good. But as far as the whole, Apples do this, Apples do that, oh my God, shut the fuck up.
I liked how they represented that with, like, this Beatlemania kind of thing over the Apple thing, and I don't know, it wasn't great. I love Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and there were lines in it I thought were good, but overall the story was kind of fell flat. It didn't win any awards, as you would say, from me, but there was one line in it that I thought you guys would think was funny. I think Lisa says, like, oh, it's like when they turn a 3-part book into a 4-part movie.
Yes.
So for me, the first thing I'll say is I love the simplicity of how they made fun of it by just putting M's at the beginning of words and how it actually worked. Like, Mapple is funny in and of itself, but Steve Mobs, like, just turning it into an M, Mobs totally works here. And then instead of an iPhone, they have a My Phone. And I just thought that was really amazing that they accomplished this much with some fucking letters, Overall, it really, I don't know, it didn't work or not work for me. It was one that I probably won't remember when this is over. I feel like it was a decent concept, but something about it just bored me. So I don't know. Yeah. At least they got the Futurama and Orville in there, right?
Oh, I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what they made fun of for me was the stuff that works. What they made fun of works for me because we've addressed this before on other episodes, that whole idea of I guess the Apple cult where you have to have it. But what's great is how, the character Steve Mobs, who then they, watching, you find out is an alien, is talking back to his home planet and saying, our plan is almost complete. And they're, asking like, oh, can they see you? It's like, no, they can't see me. They're too busy looking at their Mapples.
That was pretty funny.
Their screens. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how many studies have been done? And even, these expose things on, morning TV or daytime TV, to demonstrate how little people pay attention, it just with little stuff. I happen to be checking my phone. I'm not paying attention to anything that's taking place around me. And they always have like somebody who sits down next to you, and then another person, they get up and another person replaces them. Or there's the one with, the gorilla walking past a bunch of people, or the, guy in a gorilla suit walking past a bunch of people, and no one notices that he's there, or no one asks any questions. And then, of course, more dangerous situations like people just looking at their phones while they're driving or doing something that requires attention.
I have to collect them all.
Well, you do you, sir. Yeah, I like that. I like the way that it builds that fear, that tension of like what's going to happen. To the point where Lisa and Bart are the last ones left, and she she makes it to this planet where it's exactly the way that she would want things to be done, right? To the point where when they're going to eat, or at least when they're going to get something to eat, it's announced that Lisa's a vegan, and the aliens like feign shock, like, "Oh my God, you're a monster!" Oh no, I'm just joking. Have a piece of my ass. Just how that was, because I was expecting the twist was going to be they're on this planet with all these this plant life and everything, and the plants are going to attack because Lisa happens to be a vegan. You know, there's so many times that's been done where there was one person that happened to do something that was seen as weird or different in one place. They go to this new place and they're instantly vilified even more when they think that it's going to be a good situation for them.
So I wrote this line that I liked, but I didn't write who said it, and I literally don't remember it. So I'm guessing Lisa says the first part. My phone says there's spores from outer space landing all around us. And then somebody says, well, my phone says there's divorced moms in my area that want to meet me.
Oh, that was Lenny and Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
was a very good line.
I was literally like, who the fuck would Lisa have been talking to that would have said this? But no, that makes way more sense. Thank you. I got to start labeling my notes.
Yeah, I think you
here on episode 29.
You meant Lenny when you put Lisa. Because
I didn't put Lisa. I didn't put anybody. That's what was.
Oh, really?
Okay. I was just like, that sounds like something Lisa would say. So, no, the spores from outer space landing all around us part. I was like, yeah, that sounds like it could be Lisa.
Well, speaking of Lisa, do you want to get into the second act?
No.
Okay.
Why? I should start this with I don't like Split. All right. So,
but do you like Multiplicity?
Well, I love Multiplicity, but this is about Split.
Well, I know. Okay.
Multiplicity was a hammock episode in the hammock district. So this is honestly a better version of Split to me. And when I say that, I mean because it's like 7 minutes long. I absolutely love the acting in Split. I don't like the story, and there's something about it that really doesn't work for me, and I can't tell you what, and I'll probably never watch it again to figure it out. But the thing I like in this is that I finally got a Lisa episode that's about Lisa, that follows Lisa, has Lisa's motivation, and actually closes out her story arc all in one fucking episode. So let's get into it. So basically, she kidnaps Milhouse, Nelson, and Bart. They find themselves trapped in this little room. She has dissociative identity disorder, much like in Split. And so her personalities keep changing. She ends up killing Milhouse and Nelson. And then she tells Bart why she's doing this. And it's because he found her spelling test, changed her answers, and then Miss Hoover mocked her and gave her an F, which I think is ridiculous because there's no way Lisa could know that Miss Hoover was mocking her. And then, and that made her snap. And yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess Milhouse has turned into a little boy of paper, but you know.
He's a paper boy now.
Yeah. Hey, paper boy. But, yeah, overall, I don't know. Again, I like this better just because it's short. But I am excited that I finally got a Lisa episode that's about Lisa. What do you guys think of this one? And do you like that movie?
I'm going to tell you, I don't like Split. I watched Glass. I wasn't a fan of Split. I don't even think I made it through halfway. Or I might have fallen asleep and then woke up near the end. But it just did not get me at all. But this one, it's kind of like we talked other sketches that were done to where you condensed it down, you got the meat the meat of it out, and it works. For this one, I didn't even think about the whole idea of it being a Lisa episode that doesn't turn into being somebody else's story. But I think the way they're accomplishing that is you're getting so many different Lisas to where you have no choice but to have it a Lisa story, because if it had turned into anything else, I mean, what, a Bart survival story?
Yeah, that would be boring too.
Yeah,
it almost turned into Saw. for a second.
Well, that's where I thought it was at first because I wasn't paying attention to the title. Because when I saw the chains, it's like, okay, well, are we about to play a game? What are we doing?
Hello, Lisa. I want to play a game. Go away, Millhouse. No, look, I brought these games. They're from an old Halloween special.
I think the story was really about Duffman.
Damn it.
I love that Duffman cameo. So random.
It's a pretty good one, too.
I didn't think this
was the most
was
characterization he's gotten in years.
This wasn't the worst, like, Treehouse of Horror. It was fine for what it was. I'm not a huge fan of Split either. Not because of all the problems people have with it displaying mental health incorrectly. I don't care about that. I just don't like M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan, whatever you want to call him. His movies to me aren't very creative or I just never enjoy them. It's not even good as like a popcorn movie, but I like James McAvoy and I think he has a great performance in Split. But watching Lisa do it, it was exhausting. It was like how I imagined it would be to like hang out with Kate McKinnon or like or like even like Robin Williams, just like you people need to shut the fuck up. This is too much. Like just always on that kind of personality. So in that sense, like I was like ready for this one to be over. And I wish it had been a Saw episode with Nelson, Milhouse, and Bart. Like that would have been more interesting to me.
Well, I think you lose a lot of what makes McAvoy's performance. Like, he literally, his whole face fucking changes based on what he's doing, you know? And we don't get that because it's Simpsons animation. And you could literally bring in 9 people to do her voice. And, like, what does that do for me? It's a fucking animated show. Like, there's nothing special about it. Whereas his performance in Split is fucking amazing because he literally does all of it, you know? And so I feel like we really missed the thing that made that special. And so I feel like there's no soul to this.
Yeah.
Speaking of very old souls.
Oh well. I think this last act is probably one of my favorite Treehouse of Horror bits, if only for the subject matter. It's called
I want to hear your opinion about everything.
It's called Geriatric Park. It is a blatant ripoff of Jurassic Park. You know that because they fly over all 5 Jurassic Park franchise movies on their way to Geriatric Park, which is an island not on a map, and it's where Mr. Burns has created this, I guess, park, for lack of a better term, of elderly people who he has rejuvenated through splicing DNA from them and dinosaurs. But while visiting, Homer turns up the thermostat, causing the DNA to morph, according to Professor Frink, who is playing like the B.D. Wong, Henry Wu character. And all of the elderly people turn into dinosaurs, and they start destroying everything until Lisa figures out that they just want to be heard and acknowledged, and then by the end of it, they're living hand in hand with these dinosaurs who are also their relatives. I thought it was pretty creative. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I wasn't being terribly critical of it because I didn't want to be, because I like Jurassic Park and I love The Simpsons. So a couple things I noticed is that there's a part where Marge calls Grandpa Abe, and I can't remember the last time I've heard Marge use his actual name when talking to him, so that kind of stood out to me. Huh. And I want that sign that they had on the park that said, "Now Goldblum free."
Yeah.
I like that one. What did you guys think?
I thought this was, I said this with some sketches before. I thought it was a cute adaptation of where it wasn't anything that they were trying to do anything remarkable or ridiculous or just rip it off. I shouldn't say rip it off, but just to take it and use it as kind of filler. But I like the whole idea that you've got a retirement home full of elderly people who often get referred to as dinosaurs, and the whole idea that you see them fucking running around and, carrying, a woman or pulling stuff. Like it was just ridiculous how they made it look like, oh, look at all these old people. Look at them roaming free. It was that kind of spectacle to it where it was funny. It made me think about all those testosterone commercials. Like the one with Frank Thomas and then all the ridiculous ads that you get on Facebook or wherever, on Fox or whatever, on all these different TV channels where it's like, hi, my name is Mike. I'm 79 years old, and this is the best shape I've ever been in. Meanwhile, the dude looks like he's Mr. Olympia. And you're like, how the fuck did this happen, Grandpa? Well, I took a lot of growth hormones, and I did, some horse tranquilizer and some rhino horn. But now that I'm using, whatever the fuck the product is, I only take one pill a day as opposed to poaching rhinos and grinding their horns down into powder and snorting it.
That's where he's going wrong, because all that activity is what was keeping him alive.
Exactly.
Now, I like this one for all the same reasons Don just said. Like, I really like the overly obvious comparison between dinosaurs and elderly people. But, like, you also get that there's this gentle subtext that was really interesting to me where, yes, like a nursing home is almost like a zoo. And I don't mean that with disrespect. Like, I literally mean exactly what I just said. Like, you go there and everybody's like a display that you see while you're like waiting for the person that you're going to see. Just like there's the creepy factor like there would be with dinosaurs. And it's such a weird fucking feeling where you're almost forced to confront your own mortality when you're there. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'll be completely honest. My response is always fucking kill me before I get here. I think that it was really interesting that that's sort of here, but then like it also gives them a new life because they're being taken care of and they're actually having their needs met versus what we see in the average nursing home or other care centers. Even like assisted living, like this one's really truly engaging everybody. So we should have known something was wrong right there when Monty Burns owns something and it's taking care of people this well.
Yeah, exactly.
but no, like I think that it was a really cool way to just throw that juxtaposition that we normally don't get with this, because even the Simpsons nursing home is nice compared to reality. Like, everybody's always kind of like chilling together and doing stuff, and that has not been my experience whenever I visited one. So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting little thing to throw in there. And then, of course, the actual plot with the dinosaurs and all that stuff. The thing that I really like is even at the end, like they're abusing Agnes again. Like, they're forcing her to fly them home. And I was like, it's weird how we've come full circle from taking care of these people to once again exploiting them now that we need something. But there was a line that I did not write down. So this time I know who said it and where it was, but I don't know what it said. But when Agnes bites Skinner, she makes a comment about how he like disappoints her even with how he tastes or something like that. And I wish I'd written the line down.
You even taste disappointing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It said I'm half you, or you're half of me, or something. Because
his real name's Armin Tamzarian.
Well.
Or
his real name is Stuffman Jr.
I agree with you though, James. I don't want to be in a I've always said that I don't want to live past 40.
Jesus.
As somebody who's 42, you're on the right track, buddy.
I'm 31 and I'm rounding third and I'm heading home.
Jesus.
Excuse me if I consider myself one of those guys that's looking forward to retirement homes or retirement communities, not retirement homes, unless there's a fucking cassowary or something around.
I was gonna say I have a book where you live in a retirement community. I might have written it.
Well, I have a date with Sophia in the other one.
And a really, really great death. Anyway, so now overall, the one thing I will say is I expected this one to bore me because I did feel this was going to be way too close to what we're used to and there wouldn't be anything new. And there was enough that it felt familiar and fun, but it was also twisted enough to be a way better Halloween skit than we've seen lately. And I think this goes back to what we kind of talked about looking at them through the wrong lens and how things got really bad for a while. I tried really hard not to do that with this episode. And I feel like the ones that were bad were still bad. And this one was good. So I liked this one.
Yeah, me too. I feel like we're on an upswing after kind of having a really rough patch there in the early 20s. I feel like it's kind of gotten back on track.
This concludes another episode
of the Necronomicon
with James Sabata
and Thomas Sexbot Brungardt.